Just real quick before the video starts, I want to say that I'm thankful for all the support so far, especially the last few weeks, where I've been trying my best, and I will. Just a quick disclaimer, I can't upload for the next 4, maybe 5 days, since I'm going on a trip, and there, won't be great Wi-Fi, and I kind of want to enjoy the time there. So, sorry about that, but at the very latest, in 5 or 6 days, it should continue with the normal upload schedule, with one video every 2 or 3 days, really depending on my motivation and time schedule. But yeah, that's it. So for a few days, sorry if there's no video. Anyways, now let's continue with the normal episode. What if Naruto was in Uchiha Part 8? Let's go. Now the preliminary rounds were to begin. The first matchup would be Sasuke, who in this version is obviously not injured with the curse mark, or at all really, going against a random shinobi, same as he did in the original series. I actually forgot his name and I can't really bother to look it up. So obviously now without the curse mark and stronger than the original series, he absolutely bodies him, and with a few kicks the fight's over. Sasuke wins. Then we're gonna skip a few fights and we're gonna talk about, well, I must say I actually don't quite remember the order of the two fights, but I think the Gaara vs. Lee fight came first, so I'm going to talk about that first. Gaara kind of relaxed for the last few days, but at the same time, the Jinchuriki, well, the tailed beast actually, went quite nuts in the presence of Kurama. But Naruto was a very soothing person, so with Gaara being much more relaxed, the tailed beast didn't really go too crazy. And for the first time ever, Gaara actually got some sleep. So Gaara wasn't nearly as aggressive and naive as he was in the original series. And their fight went pretty normally, except, well, Lee didn't get injured at the end. Obviously he got a little banged up from their fight, and both of them actually really enjoyed the fight. Both Lee and Gaara had a great time. But at the end, Lee decided to give up as he saw that there was no point in fighting Gaara. So, without any injury, neither to his leg nor his arm, Lee escaped the fight, but still lost. And then came Naruto's fight, obviously, against Kiba, which went very easy, and, if he was able to defeat him in the original series, I think you can kind of picture what happens here. Shikamaru does his usual stuff, but that doesn't matter. I don't know why I keep mistaking Kiba and Shikamaru. But yeah, Naruto sees through Kiba's disguise with a Sharingan, and it's no problem. Naruto's superior in every way possible, so that's pretty easy. Then comes Sakura's fight. And as you've noticed so far, I've kept all the same opponents and matchups, as I don't see them changing, and I don't see any reason for them changing. So Sakura goes against Ino, as she did in the original. And this one is kind of a weird one. Now, they are very close, and some would even say they're the same. But Sakura is stronger. She is stronger. And whilst it might not look it, she does have more control over his chakra, and actually more willpower to win this one. She was truly inspired by Naruto and Sasuke, who, even after the massacre of their clans, keep fighting to become stronger, and finally, well, at some point in their lives, meet their brother. So she trained as well, and she got stronger, both physically and with her chakra, and mentally. So she's gonna take the cake on this one, and actually win the fight. Now the rest of the matches aren't really important. So we skip ahead to everyone finding out who their matchup is. And Naruto sees that his matchup is Hinata's cousin, the one that defeated him quite brutally. And Naruto is dying to fight him. He wants revenge for Hinata. They have never been really that close before, but Naruto still felt really bad about how Hinata got treated in the fight. It just didn't seem right. she got attacked mentally as well as physically. And Naruto just didn't like watching it. So he wanted to return the favor to Neji, and found out that he would have a whole month to practice and rest before that came. Now at this point all the normal stuff happens. Naruto wants to train with Kakashi, but then is turned down, as obviously then he gets the stand-in teacher, Konohamaru's teacher, but has no fun in fighting, sparring, or training with him. So when he meets Jiraiya in the spa, he becomes his apprentice. Just that it's not that easy for Jiraiya to teach him stuff at this point. Naruto knows much more things. Tree walking, water walking, it's easier for him. And there really isn't a need to, well, train the use of chakra of the Nine Tails. Naruto is actually quite good at it. Now, obviously he's not a master, but he kind of used the influence of the Kyuubi and control himself perfectly. But when it gets to something like 1 or even 2 tails, Naruto is still learning how to do that. Now, you gotta understand, Kurama isn't trying to take over Naruto's body, but it's just the evil chakra that Kurama possesses from his evil half that still tries to take over Naruto and makes him turn evil himself, without necessarily wanting to take over his body. So, basically, Kurama isn't evil, but his chakras, if that makes sense. But something that Naruto can learn from Jiraiya is the summoning. Naruto doesn't have a summoning. In all his years of training with Sasuke, and even Itachi and Shisui, he never had summonings. Summonings aren't very common in the Uchiha clan, at least in the sense of there's not one summoning that people have. For example, Sasuke had snakes in the original series. Meanwhile, others had crows, and so on. But it's not that common to have a set summoning in the Uchiha, and a lot of them don't have one at all. So Naruto never bothered, but now he was going to become a Toad Sage. And with that, he talked about a certain force that he read in some books, in some ancient archives, that talked about hashirama, and it talked about something called Sage Mode. It was said that the 3 greatest summons, the snake, the toad, and the slug Sannin, had something called Sage Mode, which basically took energy out of nature itself, took the chakra from nature, similar to how the tailed beasts use their strength, and were able to use that and make themselves incredibly powerful. And Naruto wanted to learn it, but Jiraiya didn't think he was quite special. Well, not quite special as in the sense that he wasn't yet ready to do something like that. It was incredibly difficult to learn such a skill, and even Minato, one of the greatest shinobi in their lifetimes combined, hadn't controlled Sage Mode perfectly, and had never really been able to. That's why he barely even used it. And even Jiraiya himself in his old age never perfectly controlled Sage Mode. But with Naruto learning how to do the complete summoning jutsu, even able to summon Gamabunta himself in a matter of 2 days, Jiraiya thought perhaps he was ready. So he set up another test. This one was the Rasengan. Yes, you heard right, Naruto is going to learn the Rasengan earlier. And Naruto got the first stage very, very quickly, being able to explode a balloon, a water balloon to be exact, by, well, basically making tidal waves inside the balloon. Then came the harder test with the rubber ball with only air inside. This was much harder, and it took him another 3 days to complete this one. And then, when he finally had it, the final test was easy. After only half an hour, he managed for it to work, and destroyed an entire tree in a single, not even fully charged attack. He now had control over the Rasengan in less than a week. Actually, closer to half a week, to be exact. And Jiraiya was now truly, truly impressed. and thought that he might actually be ready to try Sage Mode. So, Jiraiya and Naruto went back to Mount Miyaboku, with Naruto supposedly going to try out Sage Mode. Jiraiya told the sages of the Toads many incredible things that Naruto had been able to do in mere days, and how he was extremely intellectual and a very skilled shinobi. So they put him to the test and made him train with them for a whole week, became one with nature, and he slowly but surely took in sage energy. And after a full week was over, he was able to lift the incredibly hard and heavy stone statues. With ease, he was able to lift the massive statues with a single hand, and barely felt it at all. He stayed on Mount Miyaboku to train for a few more days, which actually turned into 2 weeks, because he truly wanted to refine his skills, and it was actually really fun. And the Toads liked Naruto a lot. But that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!